Past President, the 19th President of the Nigerian Bar Association, our learned seniors and colleagues, please permit me, I am not discountenancing what the 19th President came to do, but it is very important. We live in a time and age where when things like this happen, it is important for you to hear from me too. And then whatever decisions that will be taken subsequently is another thing altogether. And just like the saying goes, you do not go to the market square and undress me. And with due respect, sir, we go back to a committee where they would come and listen to me and wear a very fine agbada after everybody has seen my nakedness. It doesn't work like that. And let me say, for avoidance of any doubt, that number one, and I've said this severally, I am a product of the grace of God. If you are one, it's up to you to say it, but I'm making my own personal declaration. And I know where I am coming from. That I am the president of the Nigerian Bar Association today is only the function of God Almighty and no more. So I am conscious of my responsibility. I am conscious of my commitment to each and every one of you here as president of the Nigerian Bar Association. Take it or leave it. This whole thing is about money. And this money, like you and I know, is the bar practicing fee that all of you here contribute to our common purse. And I said that we have to be frugal in the spending of our money. Because I come from a village and I know the trouble that some of our colleagues face to pay bar practicing fees once every year. There are some of our colleagues here who are in big cities practicing that can attest to the fact that some of their colleagues that are practicing in remote areas cannot pay 25,000 naira once every year conveniently. They have to call them and ask for assistance. That is the only means by which we fund the activities of the Nigerian Bar Association. When I assumed office as the president of the bar, I didn't have money kept anywhere, but I appreciate that singular honor that all of you have done to me. Of all of us, you decided that you would put that responsibility and trust on me as your president. God Almighty is my witness. You can check my accounts. I don't have money kept anywhere by which I am running myself in this office. But one thing I am confident, there is nothing that I have ever required, ever needed, that God has not supplied for me. So I took on the responsibility to call for our retreat of the national officers. At the risk of sounding immodest, I don't like saying this, but because we are in a situation where I have to say it, I funded that retreat 100%. I paid all their tickets. I paid their per diem for the number of days they stayed. We were already sworn in. We could have resorted to the funds of the Nigerian Bar Association. I paid all, for those that traveled, I paid their tickets. For the resource persons, I paid their tickets. For their hotel accommodations, I paid. For our feeding during that period, I paid every single dime. For us to have an opportunity to interact very closely so that we can have the necessary bonding to be able to serve you better. That is because I appreciate where I'm coming from, and I know the difficulties that most of us face to pay bar practicing fee. Go and check the records. When I travel with my aides, Laura Alakija, China Cherem Uwaubani, Obasi, Nwabueze, Augustine Eze, I pay for their fare. The Nigerian Bar Association has never paid for their travel fares, even when they go to serve you with me. Never. Even the director of protocols, Kazim Nasir, who works for the Nigerian Bar Association, he can attest to the fact that we have traveled and I pay for his travel tickets. I've never stayed in any hotel anywhere doing the job of the Nigerian Bar Association using your funds. Is it out of abundance? No. But I must show appreciation to you. I am the only person who can stand out today and introduce myself as the president of the Nigerian Bar Association. No one else can. Even that gentleman, Wale Faponda, that tries to, he cannot say so. And I go to places, I am accorded respect by reason of the privilege that you have given to me to serve. How much could I have paid you to do that? So, the straw that broke the camel's back was in January this year. And I will tell my colleagues, you are the treasurer. You are the only person who can announce yourself as the treasurer. You are the first vice, you are the second vice, you are the third vice. Of all of us, none of you, no matter how unhappy you are with us, you can't go out and say you are any of us. That is a privilege for which we can't pay. That has been my message to all of us, and they can attest to it. And I said, let us use this opportunity to serve the association. That will be our seed. The MBA is a good ground. Let us commit our time and our resources to serve our members that have done us the honor to serve them. And our own harvest shall come in the future. Don't come here with the mentality of targeting bar practicing fee. If that is your target, I will not allow you to spend it. And so, in January this year, we convened a national dialogue. It was on the 30th of January. We paid for the fares of national officers coming out of Abuja to come for the national dialogue. We had a press briefing on the 31st. So everybody was supposed to go back on the 1st. This is not, if you are elected national officer, you don't leave off the association. Go and do your work. When you are needed, you come and serve the association. Volunteer non-fit injuria, you are the one that signed on. So don't complain that you don't have time for your work. And some of the national officers, including the third vice, stayed here for 2 weeks in hotel, paid from your bar practicing fee, fed by your bar practicing fee, and also given per diem 30,000 naira every day for the period that she stayed behind and wanted me to pay. I said, I will not pay. I will not pay. This issue came up at our neck in Kebbi. The memo is there. The memo is there. What explanation do you have to stay after the press briefing on the 31st until about the 14th of February? What did I see in the explanatory note? Meeting with the president on the 1st. On the 6th, the president's birthday. I said, me? Yes, that is my birthday. So you are staying to do my birthday on NBA? I said, no. Do I even sometimes remember when my birthday is? And I met with the president. It's a lie. We didn't have any meeting. You simply will walk into my office and say, Mr. President, do you have any work for me? I say, I don't have. Oh, you are still here? I am here. I had already warned them the previous year that please, when you come, if we have anything on a particular day, take the first flight, come that day, you spend that night, the following day we finish, you take the last flight and go. But she stayed 2 weeks. She wasn't alone. And I looked at it and I said I would not pay. Because it's your money. It's our own commonwealth. It's our own commonwealth. I will not spend that money like that. You cannot tell me, what would you have said if you had seen it in the statement of account that a third vice stayed 2 weeks to attend my birthday? What would you say of me? And then, talking about section 9(5), the third vice president sent me a message that she wants to go on a familiarization tour of the zone assigned to her, which is the West. I later discovered that, as at the time that message was sent to me, she had already gone on the familiarization tour, carrying 5 people from her office to accompany her as third vice president. And you are to pay. Familiarization, is that what section 9, subsection 5 says? That you want to go to familiarize yourself with the zone that you are sent to work? When you went around campaigning, did you not familiarize yourself enough? You now want to use MBA money to carry your own colleagues, feed them, transport them, house them, and you say we should also give them stipends for accompanying you third vice president to go on a familiarization tour. The memo is in the office. The details are clearly stated there. If you want, you can come to the office. You are a member of the house. We will divulge that information to you. I refused to pay. That bill came to about 2-point-something million naira. Your own money. I said I will not pay. I said I will not pay. And the same thing with any other person. And then, you know, sometimes I talk about the Holy Spirit and my colleagues. Yesterday I called China Cherem and said, I have a very strong feeling that I may have to respond to this issue with the second vice president, that I've not been giving him assignment. You know, the Nigerian Bar Association is bigger than all of us. Honestly, I would have kept quiet. I would have walked away, giving you the impression that I'm a bad person. But because of the Nigerian Bar Association, I will not bother, because it's bigger than all of us. And I'm the only person who is president today who must bring accountability from the point of view of a president, not second vice president. If that is what I wanted to contest for, I would have waited until the time when I am eligible to contest for second vice president. And the second vice president is not the president. It's not the president. The third vice president is not the president. As the risk of sounding immodest, the Constitution tells you who you are and what you can do. Have I been delegating assignment to the second vice president? It's a pity that we will ignore the things that we know have been done and come here and misrepresent facts just because you want to put this boy at odds with his colleagues. It is unfortunate. All the reports that Clement Chukwuemeka, Democrat, rendered, that he did this, he did that, it was at my instance. It was at my instance. The forensic report paper he delivered, this was a memo I minuted to him on the 29th of March, 2023. 20th April, 2023. 10th May, 2023. 8th May, 2023. 9th May, 2023. 25th April, 2023. 31st May, 2023. 28th July, 2023. Some of the reports he submitted to me, some that I could just bring out. See a report by Chukwuemeka that said I was not engaging him. See a report that he submitted, another report that he submitted, another report. Is it honorable for us to come and make such representations before our colleagues? To say that I have never given you any assignment? It is certainly not true. It is certainly not true. It is not true. And I keep preaching. And if you know the Nigerian Bar Association very well, the president is the only person that is authorized to speak for the Nigerian Bar Association. The second vice and the third vice have made the habit of going to take a position on the Nigerian Bar Association. And I've spoken to them severally. My colleagues here are my witness. This was something that was talked about very clearly during our retreat. And we had cause to bring up these issues during our NEC meetings. And our colleagues will bear me witness how we will still draw their attention to the fact that, look, what you did was wrong. If you have taken to that lifestyle, to that attitude, to desecrate our Constitution, to assume a responsibility that the Constitution has not given you, how do you think that I, as the president, will be encouraged to continue to interact with you when you are clearly in violation of the provision of the Constitution? Colleagues, I came with the idea that let us all go out and look for money for the association. Of course, within the ambit of what we were allowed to do. In March this year, I got Kebbi State to sponsor NEC. Attorney General said he would sponsor, and I got support from the Kebbi State government. They paid all our fees. Yes, they paid everything, 100%. The Attorney General paid, so the NEC we had in Kebbi was at no cost to the Nigerian Bar Association. Not a dime of your money did we use for that NEC. The records are there. After NEC, I received an additional 50 million naira. None of them knew. But my God Almighty knew that I got 50 million naira for the purposes of NEC. A friend to the Attorney General, whom the Attorney General had told that he should come and support us, came through after NEC. All expenses had been paid, except payments that I made from my own office account for air tickets with Max Air. If you recall, we had problem with Asman. We had to move to Max. I paid from my office 6.5 or 6 million naira for air tickets. I also paid another 3.4 million naira or thereabout. The receipts are there for payment for flights for national officers and our secretariat staff. that went for that next meeting, coming to about 10 million naira. That money was received in hard currency. I said to them, they gave us an equivalent of 50 million naira. I could have kept it. Nobody would have known. But what about God? Will I be able to sleep if I did that? I was carrying it in my bag. The GS came to my office. I brought out the money and showed him. I said, see the money they gave us. And that is because God has helped me to overcome the temptation with money. All of you know that money speaks. When you walk with your colleague and payment is made, you begin to hear a voice. What did he do? Why should you give him that amount of money that you've agreed? You must be able to rise above that. Did I hear voices telling me that I should chop that money? Yes, I did. Did I need that 50 million naira at that time? Yes, I did. I can tell you some of the things that I plan to do with the money. But I chose to follow my heart instead of my head. I called them, I told him. I paid the equivalent of that 50 million naira, less the 10 million for the air tickets. And we took that decision at our National Executive Committee meeting for me to pay the money into the NEC account, less 10 million naira. I paid 40 million naira into that account. And then when we had the SLP conference and also the last NEC meeting, National Executive Committee meeting, I stepped out for a while. I came back. The first vice presided over that meeting. And I came. They had passed a resolution that they would share that, the 40 million. No, I said no. No, I said, okay, so do a memo now and tell me why that money should be shared. I refused. Gentlemen, as I speak to you, the last NEC meeting that we had, this last pre-AGC NEC meeting, all expenses were paid from that account. So this last NEC meeting was at no cost to the Nigerian Bar Association. I didn't have to take your money to do that. These are my offenses. The treasurer talked about 10%. The chairmen are all here. We had issues with our IT consultant, and I explained this during the last NEC meeting. That was why we couldn't pay 10% due to the branches from payments of bar practicing fee, because he held back the data, the information. So we have all the details of those who paid bar practicing fees, but we cannot allocate branches to them because that data is with him. And I had to perform this obligation put on me by the Constitution. So I told our IT consultants and the accounts department, how do we go about doing this? Because we have to pay the 10%, even though we don't have this. So they decided to go back, and they advised we go back to the payment made last year. Let's look at the percentage of payment of bar practicing fee per branches. So we discovered that even though more people paid last year, understandably so because it was election year, but we got more money this year. So I said, give me 10% for each branch in accordance with the percentage of the payment for last year. And on that basis, I met with the chairman and I explained to them, I apologized to them that this is the only reason why we did not pay your bar practicing fee when you should have gotten this payment. So, but this is what we have done, because you are already aware that we have issues with this data. So, we went ahead and except for Abuja branch, because as at last year, Garki branch and Karu branch were not created. So everything is lumped together. So I said, except for this branch, we will pay for all those branches in accordance to the percentage of payment last year. The treasurer has a responsibility of mobilizing people to pay under the Constitution. She read her duties under the Constitution. Did she appreciate the fact that the branches should have their 10%? Not one day did the treasurer say, Mr. President, how about the 10%? We took the decision and I paid the branches. Now, at the last NEC meeting, the issue came up. And she said, I said that I did not need the treasurer to carry out any financial activity of the branch. I never said so. What did I say? I said, show me in the Constitution where I would need your permission to pay 10% remittance to branches. The Constitution is here. I don't need the permission of the treasurer to remit 10%. It's the constitutional duty. I have performed it, and I said, please, if there is anything I've done under the Constitution that is wrong, let me see. She didn't say anything, but I knew by the help of the Holy Spirit that she would come and make a complaint today about this particular issue. And with respect to the issue of payment, the issue of payment is very clear in the Constitution. It says that payment can be done by me, the secretary, and or the treasurer. The provisions are there. We are lawyers. I had never made any payment without him. And when he was away, she came and she was the only person that was recommending payments to me. And I paid. So I cannot understand how our colleagues will come here and speak in the manner that they did just to put me at odds. Distinguished colleagues, I have a commitment to all of you. I am not going to allow anybody here to make me breach that oath. It's all about money. And I will say, when we went campaigning to them and we were telling them that this is selfless service, I didn't know that you were targeting the bar practicing fee. Yes. Bar practicing fee. That's what you are targeting. Why will you tell me to come and be spending money like that? From October last year that we assumed office, strict as I have been, I told the accountant to do me, collate the extent of the expenses on national officers. I was given a total expense, I can give you the exact figure, of over 50 million naira, national officers' expenses. Don't forget that I am not included. I am not. I pay my way to travel. So when you see me charter an aircraft, it's not MBA's money. I may have spoken to Babatunde Ajibade to help me pay part of it. I would have spoken to Solomon Umar, but not your money. But I will go and perform that function because it's a call to duty and I don't have to rely on your money to do it. the amount of money that I got that represents from October 2022 to 12th of August 2023. So it doesn't even include the expenses till date. The total amount stood at 50,719,409 naira 95 kobo. This will give me 3,000 of our colleagues and more on National Health Insurance Scheme at 15 million naira for 1,000 of our colleagues. As if I knew, national officers want to go for IBA. Now, the initial memo that I got, and by the way, when I went to IBA last year, I didn't spend a dime of the Nigerian Bar Association's money. I didn't. When we went there and people were saying, oh, President, it is the tradition of the NBA to host party. And thank God, Aisha Ado is here. That COVID came, no this, no that, and we have to, this is the first time we are having a physical IBA conference. So we have to do that tradition. I brought out money I should have spent for my family to buy gifts for my family. Aisha Ado will confirm that I spent a little less than $8,000 for me to sponsor that party. She was the one that organized that party in the US, in Miami, for the Nigerian Bar Association, because there is a tradition. I got messages from all the national officers. They want to go for IBA. I told the director of protocols, let me even see what it will cost. Because I had gotten an earlier memo. In fact, the General Secretary last year, he also didn't, he had to pay to go. And we did a little collabo with him because I said, oh boy, we can't spend this money. We just got into office last week of August, September, and then we are showing in the account that we are spending millions of naira of MBA. I said, no, I will not do that. He spent part of his money to sponsor himself to go for the IBA conference. When I came back, I could hear some bickering and whatever. That was why I said, okay, when we were going for the CLA conference in Goa, I said, Treasurer, oya come, so that you will not slay me over this money where you now want to make I spend. Let's go to India. I called Chinyere Welfare. She didn't have a valid passport at the time. And who else went with us? Daniel Kip went to Goa. General Secretary went. Me, I went. And China Cherem went with me. I paid for myself. I paid for China Cherem. I didn't spend MBA's money. I didn't, because I know what it means for you people to put together your bar practicing fee. And after you have elected us, we'll come and sit down, and for 2 years, you will be fending for us. I said, no. God, you have done me what no other person has done and would be able to do. This is my way of rewarding you in a way, or appreciating you by serving you with my resources. I will still find time to write brief, go to court, collect fees, and come and spend. I didn't spend MBS money. Is it out of abundance? No. No, it is out of appreciation for what you have done for me. And I'll go out to look for this money, to fend for myself, to serve you. Not to take more money from you. So the ED, executive director, acting executive director that we have, has a statutory responsibility at IBA. Also the general secretary and myself. And I said, I've started putting money together for IBA. General secretary, how far? You know, there is withdrawal of subsidy and all. He brought a memo to me for just himself and the acting ED. The memo is for 16,069,864 kobo. The memo is here. For only 2 persons to go. That for me, what I see is 1,000 members of the Nigerian Bar Association on NHIS. When I started getting messages from all the national officers, IBA, I said, do me an estimation. I didn't intend to bring this here. I didn't. They did the memo and the estimate. Kazim is here. For all of them, excluding me, for registration, payment of membership, you want to go to IBA, you are not a member. The MBA will pay for your membership because you are a national officer. We will now take the responsibility of paying for your membership of IBA. Why? Your visa fee, your flights, your hotel accommodation, and allowances of $200 for 7 days, coming at the exchange rate is at 850 naira at that time, which came to 1.1 million, 190,000. A total of, because the GS had already paid his registration, so he's a member. Others who didn't pay, we have to pay, if we were to pay, 3,735 euros at the exchange rate of 965 naira to a euro, coming to 3,604,000 just to register you as a member. And the Nigerian Bar Association will spend its bar practicing fee after electing you as a national officer to register you as a member of the IBA. If you don't want to be a member of the IBA, don't wait. Are you any less a member, going to be a member of the MBA if you pay for yourself? But MBA would have to pay for you. I said no. And we now have a total of 79,710,820. If you put a knife on my throat, you will rather slit it. I will not pay. I will not pay. I will not pay. I will not pay. I have text messages from them saying they want to go for IBA. I haven't paid. It's here. That is the estimate of what it would have taken if we were to pay for their... I said I won't pay. No. If you didn't request, when national officers are requesting, what am I supposed to do? This is what it would cost for national officers to go for IBA. This is what it will cost for national officers to go for IBA. And I said that I'm not going to do that. I said I'm not going to do that. So if, and you are talking about courtesy calls. Courtesy calls, you all know how our public officers are. I will be waiting I will just be told to come now. Come now to the National Assembly to see the Senate President. Come now, see the Deputy Speaker. Come and see the Chief of Defense Staff. That is how I've been able to see them. What will it cost me if the national officers come with me? They won't take anything from me. Will you reduce my height? Or would you become president just because you followed me to go on a courtesy call? No. But for every such courtesy call, if it is planned, and for instance, I say come from Lagos to come and do courtesy call, my brothers and sisters, you will have to bear the brunt, because for every trip we will pay for the hotel. And if the officer we are supposed to see, we are not able to see him, then you have to go back or you stay, and it is at the cost of the Nigerian Bar Association. I will not do that. I will not. And I took this even to the Secretariat. I came and some staff in the Secretariat, some of them are here, will say they will come and bring an application that my mother is sick, or I can't pay rent. I want a loan of 1 million, 1.5 million. I say, how? How are you going to pay? Oh, they will be proposing 20,000 naira per month. I said, so I will leave this office and you are still paying this money? They said, yes. I said, okay, do we have a record of those who have taken loan even before I came? So that we will see if there has been faithfulness in the repayment of these loans. I don't think you can readily lay your hands on such a record. And what did I say to even those staff? And I explained to some of them who tried to convince me to give 1 billion naira loan. I said, no. And you can ask them. I said, my colleagues are the ones that will sweat to get bar practicing fee, put it together, and that is where what we use to run the association. I said, question, can any of the owners of this Commonwealth walk into this Secretariat and tell me, Mr. President, my mother is sick? He's a co-owner of that money. My mother is sick in the hospital, she requires surgery. I want a loan of 1 million naira. I said, can we give our colleague? They said no. I said, so, should you not thank these lawyers who, out of their bar practicing fee, they collected the money, have given you a means of employment, you are paid salaries and allowances from their Commonwealth? Is it not enough to thank them for what they have done for you? I said, I will not give the money. In order not to see me as being wicked, and I wouldn't have said this. There was one I gave 700,000 naira out of my money. Go and solve your problem. There was one I gave about 500,000 naira on account of his mother being sick, out of my private pocket, just so that I'll protect your funds. But that is what my colleagues want us to be spending because you have elected us to be national. That is why I said at the onset that there are things that I will not do. And this is what I mean by the things that I said I will not do. And it is not out of abundance of what I have. So, statutory financial report that the treasurer said she will not sign. I don't prepare financial report. The General Secretary does not prepare a financial report. If you are in tune with your job as treasurer, you should know who prepares financial report. The auditors do. I don't meet with them. I don't know them. They go to the accounts and take the information, the financial statement. They go there, take the information, and prepare their report. So the report that she is saying she will not sign is not a report I prepared. And if you look at that report, all these expenses that I'm talking about are there. So if there is any reason why we have degenerated to this point, it's because of my position with respect to the funds of the Nigerian Bar Association. And please, this is the highest decision-making body. If you give me permission to spend for the national officers however they want, I will do so. Give me permission to send them using your money to conferences, I will do so. Give me permission here to spend monies that we have collected that should help us in managing our resources. If you tell me to pay, I will pay. Armed with a resolution of this House, I will pay. But other than that, if it is pressure, okay, so what pressure can both of them, all of them put to me that will make me pay now? I will not. If you lock me in the room and open eye, I will not pay. You can't do anything. You cannot do anything. And this is not my money, and I'm not paying this money into my pocket. I am not. I have just told you all the expenses that I incur, and I incur it personally. Not out of pride, and I must repeat, but because I have to, it's my way of appreciating you for giving me the opportunity to serve you as the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, no more, no less. So, sir, my father, my uncle, this is why we are here. I have the documents to prove all of these things, and if they didn't raise it, I would have been prepared to keep quiet, and I will go out here as a bad person, but I know that God Almighty will vindicate me. And if I have done anything deliberately to hurt them or to cheat them, may God avenge for all of them. May God avenge for all of them. But I have treated my colleagues in good conscience. I have not done anything deliberately to undermine them. The only thing I said I will not do is I will not allow us to spend the funds of the Nigerian Bar Association the way they wanted me to do it. So, sir, I am sorry that I have to, as it were, disagree with you on that point, but I just needed to make this point to the House. So, distinguished colleagues, I remain, by the grace of God, the president of the bar. We will continue this meeting. We will continue this meeting. Well, Mandy, just drop your hand. You will not speak. I will not give you permission to say anything. Yes.
Mr. President, let me say something.
Now that I've spoken, if you want to set up any committee, you can set up committee thereafter to consider all that we have said. I will submit to the committee of the AGM, and we'll make the records available to that committee so that what we have said will be tested against